एकदा सुरुचे पुत्रम् अंकम् आरोप्य लालयन् उत्तमं नारुरुक्षन्तम् ध्रुवं राजाभ्यनन्दता. Anybody wants to give a show? My dear sisters, ekada suruche putram ankam aropya dhruvam rajabhyanand. Ekada, once upon a time, Suruche, of Queen Suruchi, Putram, the son, Ankam, on the lap. Ankam, you may know, has come into English. I'll do my routine. Ank, K becomes G, and it becomes ang, angle. All the words anchor, angle, all these words into English comes from that ankam. Part. Ankam is part of a body. In this case it's... So any part is ang. Ang. In English you'll see that angles. So triangles, there's 3 parts. So rectangle, there are 4 parts. So the ang comes into English. Aropya, placing, lalayan, well, patting. Uttamam, uttama, na, did not. Arurukshantam, trying to get on. Dhruvam, Dhruva, Raja, the king. Raja comes into English. J and Y are interchangeable, you may have noticed. So J and Y are interchangeable, like Jesus, Yes, Yesu. So the J and Y are always, like even when we are doing Guru Puja, J Prasad, yeah? Some people say Ye Prasad, some people say J Prasad. So Y and J are interchangeable. So the Raja, when you take the Ja out and you put Ya in there, it becomes in English Royal. Rajal, Royal. Regal, Royal. All these words come from Sanskrit Raja, Ragna. So the J and Y are interchangeable. By the time it goes through Eastern Europe and comes back into English, it does a little detour and the Y becomes J. J becomes Y and Y becomes J. Interesting, huh? So Raya, royal, all the words in English, the royal, the royals, it's all English, Sanskrit, Raja. Abhyanandata, welcome. Okay. Call and response. Once upon a time, King Uttanapada was patting the son of Suruchi. Uttama, placing him on his lap, Dhruva Maharaja was also trying to get on the king's lap. But the king did not very much welcome him. So, Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vande Nandavajastrinam Padarenum Abhikshnasha Yasam Harikatod Geetam Punati Bhunatrayam. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo. So, fourth canto, we're moving along, yeah? So, I still remember the last second chapter, second canto, the last parts of the second canto, I think, was when I started joining you. So, we're moving along, which is good. So, Dhruva Maharaj is a very, very important character. And I want to give you, before obviously you're embarking into a very exciting journey of Dhruva Maharaj's life. It's very exciting. And I want to give you a panoramic view of, hopefully if you pick up some things, I'm hoping that it will increase your excitement. Anandam Bhudi Vardhanam. So we have to increase the excitement every day. If you're not feeling happy in Krishna consciousness and it's not doubling every day, there is a problem. I swear. If you're not doubling the enthusiasm, if your Krishna consciousness is not doubling every day, if not doubling, at least increasing every day, there's something that needs to be fixed. So we got to just scan. Just, like they do the MRI scan, and then they can't usually see things in X-ray, but in MRI they go, oh, there is a little brown spot there. So we got to do that scanning. So let's see if I can do something here. So Dhruva Maharaja story is very important. One of the most important reason, if there's about many, but one of the most important, he has a very, very significant astrological essence, astrological importance in the Vedic knowledge. Because you may have heard all the 3 centuries or 4 centuries since Copernicus, and then Galileo, Copernicus, and before that Kepler, and then we had Ptolemy. I'm taking all the names of the ancient astronomers. Aryabhatta. So Aryabhatta comes completely left field from India. But we have like a genealogical table of these astronomers, starting from, say, Ptolemy is the last first known, initiated by Alexander. And then from Ptolemy, then will come, it kept going on until Kepler and Copernicus. They actually revolutionized. And Galileo, fortunately, took the advantage. Like the last man standing, the last one reaps the fruits of all the work the predecessors have done. So why am I saying all this? To bore you to death? No. The reason I'm saying all this is because there has been a battle of if the planetary system is geocentric or heliocentric. Is that correct? There has been some kind of battle in the last 4-5 centuries. But Dhruva Maharaja turns the whole astronomy upside down. Why? Because, mark my words, maybe this is me who has reinitiated this argument in the modern science. And in your future lives, if you ever see that astronomers all of a sudden, shebang, in the channel news and channel 7, they come and say, oh, the astronomers just figured out that we are neither geocentric or heliocentric. It looks like we are all Dhruva-centric. Please mark my words and remember that Radhika Prasad had cranked this engine on 6th of June 2024. So I have a strong feeling after how much I have read about astronomy, starting from all the way Copernicus or Kepler or Galileo, and now this multi-universes, all of the. I have a strong feeling before my life finishes, I will sometime hear in this news that the astronomers have figured out neither are we geliocentric or neither are we heliocentric. Everybody is everybody-centric around Dhruva. I have this strong feeling in me. And the day I hear that, maybe I'm 70, 80 years old and I can't even talk. And it's like, this has happened. It's like, so, did I forget my pills? So, but it will, I have a strong feeling it will happen. One day, Channel 9, you'll get up and you'll hear, neither is this universe heliocentric nor geocentric, it looks like it's Dhruva-centric. Because nobody is going around geocentric, or from my point of view, my personal view, please don't go and publish it on the Facebook saying Radhika Prasad is conflicting the modern science. There is a good chance that you will figure out before this life, there's a good chance astronomers may come and say that we are neither, what did I say? Geocentric or heliocentric. There's a good chance they'll figure out we are Dhruva-centric. They may have different name for it, pole star, zodiac, fancy, So they may fancy, but it is a good chance we are all roaming around each other. All the planets are roaming around and revolving and rotating each other, and Dhruva is really the centric. That's astronomical significance. You want me to give you another significance? I can give you about 4 or 5 for this today. It is also extremely important in yoga. Dhruva's story is very important for a mystic yoga system. Mystic yoga system, we think it's just, we have Indians have the monopoly. I beg to differ. It's actually everywhere. Yoga is everywhere. Dead Sea Scrolls, go to the Greek mythologies, Mesopotamians, Byzantines, and I don't know. So many other anthropological Mayans, so many. Pablo. Yoga, we don't have monopoly on yoga. India geography doesn't have monopoly on yoga. There's everywhere. So why did I say the yogic centric is that it is imperative that a yogi, when he travels through, as described in the second canto, second chapter, verse through 16 to maybe 34, as it is clearly explained, the yogi has to go through and punch through the crown chakra, and he goes through the highest loka, which is called as Shishumara. That's interesting because it translates into English. Shishu is child and Mara is dead, so dead children. I think what that means is nobody ages there. That's what I think. So you have to go through Shishumara planet, and on the way the yogi penetrating through the pores of the universe, he gets a glimpse of the Dhruva planet. Why? Because he takes a little quick darshan of Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So I've given you 2 significance of Dhruva Maharaja. I'll just recap. The first significance I said is astronomical. Because all the battle about geocentric and heliocentric, there is a good chance, before I finish this life, there's a good chance, we'll see in channel 9 or channel 7, that neither is it heliocentric or geocentric, it's Dhruva-centric. There is a good chance. The second thing I said is yogic significance is because when every yogi, any yogi that you can clearly, who has done that Agnir Jyotirahar Shukla Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayate Gacchanti Brahma Brahmavido Jana Tumo Ratris Tat. So I don't want to do that all, but any yogi that is going through that, punching through that crown chakra and going through the spiritual planet, he has to go through Dhruva Loka. He's like the guardian of this universe. So we have a yogic significance. I'll give you a theological significance. Theological significance is, Dhruva Maharaj is a very interesting person because he gives us the first epistemology in Bhagavatam. He gives, not first, but one of the most important epistemologies in Bhagavatam is introduced by Dhruva Maharaj. Because we are all here trying to see this world as the little sparks of our juicy sense gratification. The impulses are dragging us, right? For some people it's money, for some people it's pizzas, for some people it's sex. So there are varieties of impulses that we have been subjugated. Kama, krodha, etan trayam tyajet. So Krishna says 3 things that you have to give up in 16th chapter. So, sex impulse. the money impulse, the eating impulse, believe it or not, I actually had a friend who used to sit next to me when I was working, when I was doing the 9 to 5, nearly 25 years. He used to say, for him, pizza is better than sex. I said, wow, at least you've gone one step higher. you moved one step up in the gradation. Congratulations. So he used to tell me that. He used to tell, for me, pizza is better than sex. So anyway, what are we here for? Yeah. So that's, these impulses are dragging us. And Dhruva Maharaj actually turns the whole thing upside down. Epistemology upside down. Because our epistemology is whatever I can touch and whatever I can verify, controlled experiment. How does the science work? Controlled experiment. Whatever I can control is real. Something I cannot control, something I cannot pin it as a butterfly in a lab and watch it, like scrutinize it in a microscope, then no, that's not epistemology I'm prepared to accept. Wait a minute. Not really. If controlled experiment is the only epistemology, I think it's not epistemology. I think there is some more than epistemology. There is something called clinical psychopathic problem. If the only thing that you are prepared to accept is something that you can control, what does that tell you? If the only thing that you are prepared to accept as a verification is the thing that you can control, I'm talking from the modern physicist and scientific perspective. They're saying that the only thing that they accept as a verification, epistemological verification, is something they can control. It's a controlled experiment. You know what I think? I think it's a psychological problem. What I cannot control, I cannot accept. I think it's a major psychopathic problem. It's something to do with something. They have to really get psychiatric checks done. This is my personal conclusion. So, if you see tomorrow after hearing my Bhagavatam class, all the physicists and the modern scientists are lining up in front of their psychologists and psychiatrists, don't get surprised. Because there is a clinical psychopathic problem. But Dhruva Maharaj turns this around. Because he is saying, when he sees Krishna, what is that? Stane bhilashi tapasasti toham tvam praptyavan deva munindra guhyam kachan vichinvan api drivya ratnam swamin kritartosme varam nayache. He is saying, after I have seen you, all those things that I have been experimenting, aspiring, and things that I was feeling as verifiable only with sense gratification, only with my physical impulses, things that I have accepted, after seeing you, all those epistemologies look very weak and feeble, because this is much grander and higher than what I was always aspiring for. He's turned the whole thing upside down. So what he's saying is, whatever we are fancying in our hearts, the sense gratificatory impulses that we are fancying, the controlling impulses that we fancy secretly, cherish, that we can't even tell, it's so embarrassing. We can't even share with our best Sankirtan partner. That's how embarrassing it is. Even those things, Dhruva Maharaj said, but when I see you, those things look completely like broken glasses. So there is a very, very heavy epistemology going on here. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So, does that make sense? Do you want me to repeat it? So he's turning the thing upside down. So this is a hope. It is a hope. Don't regret coming to Krishna consciousness. The best hope you have is that whatever you have been aspiring will be accomplished on a much more grander and higher panoramic scheme than what you yourself could have accomplished by your own endeavors on a much higher panoramic, larger scale, when you attain Krishna consciousness. Is this hopeful or not? Please tell me. Yes or yes? Would you regret coming to Krishna consciousness? How beautiful is this? Whatever you have thought, whatever it hasn't been accomplished, and whatever you were looking to accomplish, whatever that has remained unaccomplished, and whatever you are looking to accomplish, everything is within the circumference of Krishna consciousness. And when you reach Krishna, you are Purna. Nothing to aspire anymore. And when it comes with the tinge of Radharani, what is it? Pulaka Sharira, Hari Hari Bolite, Nayana Bhai Nira. What is the start of the word? Gauranga Bolite. Thank you. Gauranga Bolite Pulaka Sharira, Hari Hari Bolite Nayana Bhabe Nira. So when the flavor of Radharani adds to Gauranga, there's nothing more left. Can you imagine the accomplishment? It's like you recalled your original consciousness back. Krishna consciousness is not an invention, it's a discovery. Can you imagine it? So how nostalgic you could get? That you discover your own original consciousness, always in connection, completely fulfilled, satisfied, nothing more to look forward, except enhancing Krishna's pleasure, enhancing Radharani's, helping her out. There is nothing more. So he's turned the whole upside down. So what did we cover? We covered first astronomy. Thank you very much. Okay, you're a good catcher, I know. So first we got astronomical, second? Very good. Who's that? Okay, you're going to share with him, of course. And third, theological. He's turned the whole thing upside. How come nobody remembered? Theological, because he turned the thing upside down. It's amazing. It's amazing, theological and philosophical. And finally, the verse today is talking about his social and communal contribution. And you might think, okay, where is this going on? What Radhika Prasad forgot his pills. No, I can give you. So, Uttanapada had two queens. One was Suniti and the other was Suruchi. Niti is virtue, niti is morale, something that leads you towards the right path. So niti in Sanskrit, niyama, all these words come from the same root. Niya. Niya means to lead. So niti is moral and virtues. So Suniti is a lady who is a leader of good morals and virtues. And then the other queen was Suruchi. Ruchi is taste, impulse. So Uttanapada, rather than choosing, he knew his priorities. Rather than choosing a queen that leads, Su comes into English. Superman, Su, eugenics, Su becomes you from Greek. So in Superman, the Su is the Sanskrit Su. Supra Mana. Great man. So Suniti, a good leader of moral and virtues. He chose not Suniti, he chose Suruchi. Impulse, beauty, grander romance. I'll use lighter words. I'm sure you know what the stronger words are. So he chose more the darker, like the stronger romantic lady, the one that he can satisfy his impulses. Sunuti was on the backhand. That is generally everywhere that happens. So there is a saying when I was a young boy in the 80s. I'm starting to date myself. Anybody here saw the 70s? Is it the only one? Me here. Is that only me? Oh, you. Oh, yeah, Chittari Prabhu. You saw 70s? Of course, yeah. So it's only you and me. Oh, yeah, three of us. So we've seen 70s, and you might have seen 70s. Thank you very much. So four of us, thanks. Just builds my self-esteem. So I'm not the. So there's an old saying they used to say. You might have heard this. They say there are certain women have power to transform boys into men, and certain women have the power to transform grown-up men into young boys. We used to joke in the schools when old men were chasing young girls or things like that. We used to make a joke. We used to say certain women have the power to transform boys into men, and certain have the power to transform men into boys. And we used to joke about when mature people were chasing young girls. So it was a joke. So Suruchi obviously managed to transform this matured Uttanapada into a young boy. And he was jumping around her like a little game animal. So what is what is the social problem that I mentioned? What is the social significance? This is the social significance. What Suruchi is doing is not just a family injustice. Dhruva Maharaj is escalating into the throne because he has this Kshatriya spirit. He knows that he will be part of that royal legacy. He will have to inherit. He has this intuition. Otherwise he wouldn't have gone to the forest like that with so much passion and anger like a Kshatriya. So he is Aropyam, Anka Arohyam. He was raising to the throne. There is a symbolic significance that he wanted to be the king. But Suruchi, what she did, it's not just an unfair treatment from a stepmother, it's actually an unfair treatment from a communal social perspective. You want me to explain why? This connects to Varnashrama Dharma. My friend Ravi there is going to have all ears on this now, because we had quite a few Varnashrama discussions previously. So this connects to Varnashrama. The Varnashrama Dharma is that two major shlokas. I'll bring back to the shloka. Don't panic. I'm not having a middle-age crisis. So Dhruva had a spirit of Kshatriya. His psychological tendency is to rule and administer, arrange, improvise, rule, enterprise. This is Kshatriyas. That's his tendency. What has she done by stopping him going on to the father's lab? Is it now just limited, when you think from a Varnashrama perspective, is it just limited to some family feud? Or is she obstructing a whole Varnashrama Dharma of a family tradition? She is, hindering. She is ambushing a person who is raising his Kshatriya spirit she's obstructing him by not utilizing that tendency. So it's not just a little family feud, it's actually an obstruction to the Varnashrama Dharma. We have to think about these things carefully. Because here you have a boy who has a Kshatriya spirit, but just because of her favoritism, just because of her personal motives, she's actually obstructing a Varnashrama Dharma to progress and flourish in its natural propensity. That's what she's doing. That's the larger problem she's creating. It's not just a family problem. That's the larger, there's no such thing as pure individual problem. There is no such thing as a purely individual problem. Any individual problem usually has to culminate and ferment into social problems. So by obstructing an individual family Varnashram Dharma, even in our own families, when we are obstructing our family dharmas, we are obstructing a whole social flourishment. That's what we're doing. So Dhruva Maharaj's story in this sense has got a whole social panoramic significance. I'll tell you something interesting from our beloved, our hearty Lord Krishna's pastimes. Everybody acquainted with Mahabharata a little bit? That's why I always say you have to read Mahabharata also. It's very important. Because Bhagavad gives you the ideals of bhakti. Mahabharata gives you the practicals of bhakti. To start every day. Every day you fall, every day you start again. I'm not encouraging you to fall down, but I'm just saying the way this world is built, there's always obstacles. But Pandavas would raise up every day and start again. So they show how even great devotees like Yudhishthira and Arjuna and Bhima could face such grueling problems. So it's very important to read Mahabharata. It gives the practicalities of bhakti. Anyway, where did I start that? Oh, yeah, I was going to give you a little pastime of Krishna. So what happens is just before the Kurukshetra war, Krishna has been sent by Yudhishthira as a messenger. It was actually a voluntary service. And he goes to speak to Duryodhana. And it's an interesting dialogue that ensues there. And the dialogue that ensues there, Krishna says this, look Duryodhana, why the war? You heard of Mahabharata? The Mahabharata war? The Mahabharata war? No, you haven't? Okay. That's usually the kind of equivalent of Iliad and Odyssey from the East, but maybe 10 times more. So it's a boom. And Iliad and Odyssey is supposed to be a little fictitious anyway, because there is nobody can find the cities, the Olympics and all that. But Mahabharata, you can find the relics of Mahabharata right now, even now as we speak. So Mahabharata has actually a social and anthropological rootings, whereas Iliad and Odyssey are more Homer's fictions. So of course some people say he has the seed has to be somewhere in reality also. I'm not going to debate that. So there is this epic of Mahabharata. So there is a grand war, just like the Trojans and the Greeks. There is a grand war between Kurukshetras and Pandavas. So Krishna goes as a messenger to have a little chat with Duryodhana, say, you know what, hell with this war. Why do I have to be a warmonger? Let me ask you this question. A Kshatriya has to rule. You have to give, as a lord of this, current lord of this Jambudvipa, Bharatakhanda, you have a responsibility that you have to make sure everybody has their careers and ashrams, Varna and Ashrama. Right? So Pandavas are Kshatriyas. Let's do a deal. Give them a village. Give them a village each and let them do their career. If you're an engineer, if you studied engineering, anybody studied engineering here? You would want to, if you were in the optional ashram, you would want to pursue your career in that, wouldn't you? So if you are a medical, if you're a teacher, you want to pursue in that. So this happens to be that Pandavas are Kshatriyas. So you cannot refuse to give them a career. Let alone all this feud about family feuds and feudal systems and all this, the war, the political feuds. Give them a career for God's sake. And we'll all put our swords down, pens down, walk away. Let's walk away. Give them a career. That's all Krishna asked. Give them a career. And what does Duryodhana say? Tough cookies. Maybe tough bananas. Tough bananas. No chance. And that's when Krishna gets hang on a minute. What is going on here? And then he shows his universal form. Did you know? Duryodhana gets to see Krishna's universal form. Did you know that? Anybody knew that here? Interesting, isn't it? He gives you know that? Very good, very good. So he gives, this is where you see God is equal. Arjuna gets a universal form, Duryodhana gets a universal form. Arjuna gets Krishna, Duryodhana gets Balarama. So that's where Krishna said, okay, this is really getting out of my hands. We need to pull this back together. That's where the war started. Otherwise there was no war. So varnashrama dharma chaturvarnyamaya sishtam guna karma vibhagasa tasya kartaram apna vidyakartaram avyayam. As you would have already guessed, I've looked each of these words in the Sanskrit dictionary. Varna in Sanskrit dictionary is a description of a person, a psychological description of a person. Varna. Ashrama is a settlement. Varna is a psychological ascription to a person, and ashrama is a settlement, a psychological career that suits a person. As simple as that. It's not so esoteric. It's just simply giving you your particular career and settlement as per your psychological inclinations. Chatur varnyam maya srishtam. Guna karma vibhagasa. Guna. It's interesting, in my mother tongue is Telugu, I come from the Andhras. So, it's very interesting, I found when I was growing up and I was reading Gita, the word guna and lakshana, normally used in varnashrama dharmas, in Vedas, is actually used exactly in my mother tongue for psychology. Lakshanamu, gunamu. These are exact words used for psychology of a person. So it's a system, that's why it's a scientific system built to cater for particular psychological tendencies and the settlements they want to have. So some people have a tendency to be teachers, some people have a tendency to be the enterprises, the administrators, the commerce, the mobilizers, the movers. Some people are the defenders, the protectors. They can't see injustice. Their blood boils. That's Kshatriya. Some people are just tell me what to do, I'm happy. Just tell me what to do. My dakshina comes, happy what to do, you can be your hero. You can be all the hero you want. Shudras, simple. It's nothing to do with caste, it's nothing to do, nothing like that. So chaturvarnam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasa. And then there's another very important verse that you should know, and hopefully some of you by hearted. That is Narada Muni talks this in Markandeya Purana. Yasya yal lakshanam proktam purusham vyamja bivandikam tadanyatreva drishyeta tattena vinirdishet. Very good. Good boy. Good boy. I like Kamsari. So, yasya yal lakshanam proktam purusham varna vivanjikam yad anyatreva dishyeta tattena vinirdishet. As you see the psychological inclinations, you provide and facilitate them in that direction. That's what the king was meant to do. That's what some other day, maybe last month or two, Ishwareshwara Das was talking to me about when I was talking about military religions. He asked me a question. Well, Radhika Prasad, thanks for your whatever you speak. The question I have is, the Kshatriyas were meant to do a military religion. And I answered him, no, the Kshatriyas were not meant to do military religions. The Kshatriyas were meant to propagate Varnashrama Dharma to make sure everybody are occupied in their particular ashramas, psychological inclinations, and progress from there. Varnashrama acharavata purushena parapuman Vishnu Aradhyate Panta Nanya Tattosha Karanam. That's the duty of a king. You gradually help any leader, family leader, state leader, business leader, petrol pump leader, pharmacy leader, country leader, cult leader, mosque leader, church leader, temple leader, doesn't matter. Our jobs is to help whoever is under, whoever we have vigilance over, to make sure they are correctly guided in their propensities in the Varnashrama Dharma. That's the point to make. So what is Suniti doing? So the fourth significance I was talking about Dhruva is a social significance. He holds on to his determination, that's why he's Dhruva. Exactly translated into English as determination. And also the center of the universe as Dhruva. Everything rotates around him, Dhruva. He's keeping this world, universe in its orbit. That's why he's Dhruva. So he's showing how when you have a psychological inclination and when you need a career that suits you, you have to gradually progress towards Vasudeva Sattva. So he is demonstrating that Dhruva determination to do that. That's why he gets out of his home. Interestingly, his stepmother says, I think you must perhaps, you know how you say only God can help you? Sometimes you say, oh God, only God can help him. So she says to him, only God can help you. Unless you go and get help from God and take birth in my womb again, you ain't going to get a spot that you're looking for. That is not just a community problem. I think she created what's called a whole social problem called Varnashram Dharma. So Dhruva Maharaj has a significance from astronomical point of view because he's holding the whole universe in its center. Dhruva Maharaj has a theological and philosophical perspective because what he's done, he's proved the epistemology, the Krishna epistemology is where everything settles. We can all settle. Yeah. So Tam Praptavan Deva Munindra Guhyam Kachan Vichinman Apidrivyam Ratnam Swamin Kutartosme Varam Nayache. I don't need anything else. So there's something else I spoke significance. The yogi significance I spoke. Yeah? Where the yogi punches through the crown chakra and goes and he has to go through. It's like the gate in the, you're driving through the forest reserves in India and there's these gates. So he's like the gate out of this planet. You got to get darshan of Dhruva before Shishumara planets. Just read the second chapter, second canto, from something like until 35th verse. Shishumara, Dhruva. So, and finally I gave you a social direction of this, which is Varnashrama Dharma. Dhruva is establishing, if you are in your Varnashrama, if you have a particular Varnashrama inclination, you fight your guts through wherever your position is to reach that position. If you are meant to be Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, Kshatriya or Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, Grihastha, Sannyasa, whatever, you know in your hearts, don't let anybody dumb you down. There is the problem is, this is the problem. The problem we have, I think, in particularly southeastern part of the world, the problem is they have this gauge of this ashrama is better than that ashrama. For God's sake, no. It doesn't work like that. Whatever ashrama is good for you. You can only start where you can start. You cannot start from where I am. I cannot start from where you are. Can I start from where you are? No. Can you start from where I am? No. So you can only start from where you are. So there is no such thing as this ashrama is better than that ashrama. No. By the virtue, of course someone is a teacher and you have to hear. A teacher is not a teacher or a brahmana is not a brahmana who thinks that he is superior than others. A brahmana is a right brahmana who empowers others to his level. That's a right teacher. A kshatriya is not a kshatriya who thinks I am the great controller. A kshatriya is a kshatriya who empowers everybody to become their drivers of their destiny with the help of the captain. You understand? So that is the leader's responsibility. There is no such thing as up and down ashrams. That doesn't work like that. So this is a big problem that Surichi has started, which Dhruva rectified right in the beginning. So if you go to historical documents like historical scriptures, this is a very normal way to advance. If you go all the way to even before Christians, Bible and currently known theological, what I mean to say is like academically known theology. It's a very normal way to advance in scriptures. First you do the Genesis. Anybody read the Pentateuch? Yeah? Pentateuch? Very good. So Pentateuch. So you see the graduation. The first is the Genesis. The second? Third? Leviticus. So the Leviticus, and we have Deuteronomy. So did I cover the 5? We have Genesis, we have Exodus, we have Leviticus, we have Deuteronomy, we have the Numbers. So it's a very, very standard archaeological way to driving a scripture. So we are in the kind of a Genesis part of Bhagavatam, where the family lineages are being explained. Uttanapada, the Priyavrata, the Mood dynasty, the Sun dynasty, and then hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kings. And then in between, they plug these anecdotes and these historical events. So we are in one of the most prominent initial Manu's grandson Dhruva. This is like right to the drawing boards. And he established right in the beginning, even before anything started, he brought everybody back to the drawing boards. Hey, gentlemen and ladies, I am a Kshatriya, I need to be a Kshatriya. Please help me out. You can't help me out, guess who I'm going to? Straight to Narayana. Of course, helped by his esteemed captain, Sri Narada Muni. So that's the significance of this Dhruva Maharaja's story. Do you think when you read Dhruva Maharaja's story again, next time you read it, do you think this will put some little more blood into your veins? This will help you a little bit more. That's the panoramic view that Dhruva Maharaj is giving. It's not just some old Indian story plugged into some Sanskrit literature. What is it? Every day when you read Bhagavatam, this is the question I ask myself. Every single day without fail. Every single day without fail. So approximately 2 to 4 hours, it ranges depending on the day, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes. Every single day I ask myself, what is in it for me? How does it connect to my life now? How does it connect to our lives now? And you have to keep connecting Bhagavatam to your lives now. When you contemporize Bhagavatam like this, then you get more juice out of it. Then you get more out of it. Then you get more out of it. That's how, going back, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Every single day you get up, if you're not finding new excitement in Krishna consciousness, if you feel the same day, same old day, another day, another dollar, is that what they say? You understand? Yeah, I'm getting it. I'm catching it. 25 years, I'm catching it now. Another day, another dollar. So every single day you get up, and if your enthusiasm hasn't doubled, or, okay, I'll pull the bar down. If your enthusiasm is not seeming to grow, there is a need to stop and scan, get an MRI scan. There are some spots that needs to be fixed. Either it's envy, either it's some kind of material ambition for fame. Something is going wrong. As you're freeing yourself from these tendencies, as you're freeing from these tendencies of envy, as you're freeing these tendencies of some kind of interest, personal interest, either fame or name or anything, money, whatever, a scholarship or whatever it is, you will notice in the next day straight away the line is like dropping. The Krishna, it's dropping. The Krishna consciousness is dropping. It's like it has to go up, not down. If it's not going up, then the only advice I can give is, of course, you have to have someone ask this question. I do, when I'm doing books, what happens is I leave my cards with people, and when they do little programs, they call me. And I was somewhere in Riverston. They called me and they wanted to do a program. Anyway, so I was raising this point that every single day when you get up and you can't wait to get up. Is this happening or not? You can't wait to get up. You can't wait to get up and chant. You can't wait to get up and read Bhagavatam. Is this happening or not? Is this happening or not? You have to find someone who is happening. It is happening and associate with them. It has to, like, in the night when you're going to sleep, it has to be like, I can't wait to get up and chant. I can't just wait to get up and read Bhagavatam. I can't wait. It's like 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I can't wait to get up and chant. You can't wait to get up and chant. And the lady asked me in that program, so what do we do if that's not happening? You have to be in the company with someone that is happening. That's the only option you have. Mahatsevam ahur dwaram, mahatsevam dwaram ahur vimuktes tamodwaram yoshit sangi sangam, mahantaste samachitta prashanta vimanyava sadhavo suhruda sadhavo ye. You have to be in company of people who are feeling like that. I can't get up. I can't wait to get up and chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So if it's not happening, I please impel you and implore you, if it's not happening, if you can't wait to get up in the morning to chant Hare Krishna, it's like your tongue is like, when you're walking for 6 to 8 hours and 12 hours, you haven't drank a drop of water, your tongue is like anything you'll drink. Your tongue is waiting like that to chant Hare Krishna. Like it's itching. When am I going to get and chant Hare Krishna? If that's not happening to you, you can't wait to get up in the morning to chant Hare Krishna. Please, I'm your brother. Okay? At least I'm older than some of you here. Please do an MRI scan. Please take this opportunity to do an MRI scan. And if you can't wait to get up to chant Hare Krishna, you have to do an MRI scan and fix those brown dark spots. Is that okay? Happy? I know Ravi, after I spoke to Varnashram Dharma, Ravi will be a little worried, concerned about how he hasn't covered the whole scope. So sometimes the only way Varnashram Dharma can be accomplished in a very simple environment. And which is the reason it is most of the Vaishnava Acharyas choose a farm area. Because when you're in the metropolis, cosmopolitans, you're always doing what's called apadharma. Whatever is quickly necessary, you got to do. Isn't it right in the temple? Sometimes nobody cares what your service is. Prabhu, how many times this has happened, Kamsari Sendas, to you? Like 220 trillion times? You have your jobs and, hey Prabhuji, you're being pulled to that and this and that. Is that happening? All the time. Of course, you might have developed that skill how to deflect those. By now you might have developed that skill. Sriman, am I right? Does that happen all the time, or am I just blowing smoke around here? But by now, I'm sure you have developed that skill to deflect. Yes? Yeah, of course. So, but it happens. Prabhu, can you do this? Can you do this? Hey. I've got a service, for God's sake. So, you train yourself. Why did I say all that? Varnashram Dharma. So, when you're in the metropolis, you're always trying to fulfill these apad dharmas. Some people, to get themselves away from these apad dharmas, always trying to get distracted, they have to be in a serene farming environment. And they choose to develop that varnashrama in that environment, and then it escalates into what they call in India socially as a Daivi varnashram. So in that way, it kind of interjects. Does that make sense? Was I right that you had that thing in that I had to cover that? Yeah. So I was supposed to do 9 to 13. God gracious. Okay. What am I doing? Okay, I'll just quickly read the translation. So while the child Dhruva Maharaj was trying to get on the lap of his father, the stepmother, very envious of the child, with great pride, she began to speak so as to be heard by the king himself. I think I covered that. Queen Suruchi told Dhruva Maharaj, "My dear child, you do not deserve to sit on the throne or on the lap of the king. Surely you are also son of the king, but you are not qualified to sit on your father's. Because you did not take birth from my womb." I covered that. I must have read this a few times. Huh? And what was the 12th? "My dear child, you are unaware that you were born not of my womb, but of another woman. Therefore, you should know that your attempt is doomed to failure." Can you imagine a Kshatriya listening to all this? Blood boils. "You are trying to fulfill a desire which is impossible to fulfill." Oh, never say that to a Kshatriya. They'd rather die. Yeah? And what was the 13th I was supposed to cover? "If you at all desire to raise to the throne of the king, then you have to undergo severe austerities. First of all, you must satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, and then, when you are favored by him, because of such worship, you shall have to take your next birth from my womb." Okay, that's interesting. So it's more like Suruchi is not like going on a theological path. It's just like saying, "Prabhu, only God can help you." Like if you come and tell me that, I don't know, I was in Cabramatta, I'm going to books in Cabramatta or something. You came this morning, I hope you're not going to Cabramatta today, are you? Okay. So say if someone like some of my students, if they come and say that I'm going to Cabramatta for books, and sometimes you say, "Oh, only God can help you." I used to do plenty of books in Cabramatta, don't get me wrong. I love Cabramatta. I'll go now. I love Cabramatta. I'm just saying that people I used to train, they used to have some kind of, it's too hard. So, like that, it's like saying, only God can help you. No disrespect to Cabramatta, please guys. If anybody is from here, I don't mean any disrespect. I'm just saying some people find it hard to talk there because everybody is just eating meat. I'm not making this any better, am I? So the point I'm trying to make, the final point I'm trying to make is that that's what her intention was. Only God can help you. There wasn't nothing more than that. So, but Suniti says, "Well, interesting, son, your stepmother said that. You know what? Do it." And Dhruva Maharaja does it. And rest is history. So, I might stop there. Does it make sense? Did I kind of give an impetus? So finally, like I said, if you can't wait to get up to chant in the morning, if you're not feeling that, if you don't have that feeling, you can't wait to get up and read Bhagavatam, you're just itching your palms in the night, if that's not happening, you're going to have to find a company where this will happen. Thanks for coming. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha krupasindubhyocha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Any questions or comments or corrections, or anybody thinks that I was completely unreasonable? Yeah? All good? Oh, I've done a good job. Or you can't wait for breakfast. One of them has to be true. Either I've done a good job, you can't wait for breakfast. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Oh, I was meant to switch this off, am I?